The common experience of social anxiety, where your mind seems to empty in the middle of a conversation, is often misunderstood. This conversational paralysis does not happen because you are uninteresting. It occurs because your brain is functioning with excessive efficiency. The challenge is not a scarcity of things to say, but an overwhelming process of internal censorship. Your mind is constantly generating a torrent of potential comments and questions, but an inner critic systematically vetoes them as being too strange, irrelevant, or random. This internal gatekeeper effectively silences you before you have a chance to speak. Learning to bypass this critic can unlock access to the rich stream of thoughts your brain is actively suppressing. A powerful method for overcoming this is the 5-second decision rule. The principle is to verbalize the very first thought that surfaces within a 5-second window following someone's statement, rather than waiting for a more polished or supposedly better idea. The effectiveness of this technique lies in the fact that your initial, unfiltered instincts are often more authentic and compelling than anything your cautious internal filter would permit. For instance, if someone shares that they recently purchased a new vehicle, your first thought might be about a relative who was recently taken advantage of at a car dealership. Instead of dismissing this as negative or unrelated, sharing it could spark a compelling discussion on negotiation strategies or family anecdotes. The alternative initial thought, perhaps about the financing of the car, could just as easily lead to a rich conversation about financial planning. Both impulses are conversational opportunities, but they are only valuable if articulated instead of being censored. Practicing this discipline of a 5-second response limit can make your interactions feel significantly more spontaneous and engaging. Truly skilled communicators are not necessarily the most knowledgeable individuals in a room. They're the most adept at asking compelling questions. A key to formulating such questions is the practice of strategic ignorance. This involves deliberately adopting a naive perspective on subjects you may already understand well. If an acquaintance mentions they work as a graphic designer, instead of displaying your own knowledge of design principles, a more effective approach is to ask fundamental questions. Inquiries such as, "That sounds fascinating. What does a typical day in that role involve?" Or, "What is the most unusual project you have ever been a part of?" achieve two important goals. They empower the other person by positioning them as the expert, which is an inherently validating experience, and they provide you with unique insights you would not have otherwise acquired. The most effective interviewers often employ this method, posing questions to highly accomplished experts with the simple curiosity of a child, asking, "How does that process actually function?" or "What does that feel like?" The power is not in demonstrating what you know, but in demonstrating your desire to learn. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel important and insightful. Every narrative a person shares is woven with numerous potential conversational pathways. A common mistake is to seize upon a single thread and then feel lost when it concludes. The skill to develop is the ability to perceive all the available threads simultaneously. Consider a friend's story. "I had plans for brunch with my friend Sarah, but she had to cancel because her dog fell ill, so I ended up visiting that new Korean restaurant by myself." A typical response might focus solely on the dog's health. However, this single story contains a multitude of entry points, including the friendship with Sarah, the experience of dining alone, opinions on Korean cuisine, adapting weekend plans, and stories about pet ownership. A more advanced technique is to acknowledge several of these threads in your reply. A response like, "That sounds like an eventful Sunday," blending concern for a pet with an unexpected solo culinary adventure. "How was the new restaurant?" And more importantly, "Is the dog recovering well?" demonstrates comprehensive listening. This approach validates their entire experience and provides multiple options for where the conversation could go next, fostering a more natural and fluid exchange. To deepen connections, you can employ the curiosity cascade, which transforms a single inquiry into a sustained chain of exploration. Rather than asking one question and then shifting the focus to your own experience, you ask a sequence of follow-up questions that delve progressively deeper into their world. Imagine someone mentions returning from a business conference in Denver. A basic question would be about how the conference went. A second level question might be, what was your most unexpected takeaway? A third could be, how do you envision applying that knowledge to your work? A fourth could probe even deeper. Do you believe your organization is likely to adopt these new ideas, or will they fade away? This progression moves the conversation from superficial pleasantries to a meaningful discussion about their professional environment, company culture, and personal ambitions. This technique is fueled by genuine curiosity about how others navigate their lives and solve their problems. Even with these strategies, moments of mental blankness are inevitable. Therefore, it is essential to have a prepared mental toolkit for those moments. These conversational lifelines can be deployed in nearly any context. You can make an observation about the shared environment, such as commenting on the suitability of the background music or the unique decor of the space. You can also turn an obvious fact into a question, for instance, by saying, "You strike me as someone with strong convictions about coffee," or "I imagine you have some compelling stories from working in customer service." Another tool is the hypothetical scenario, such as asking, if you could completely redesign your current job, what would be the first thing you would change? You can also use a callback, revisiting a topic mentioned earlier in the conversation to show you were paying attention. Finally, offering an authentic compliment about a quality you have observed, like their passion for a specific topic, and asking about its origin can be very effective. Having 2 or 3 of these ready provides a reliable way to re-engage when your mind momentarily stalls. Knowing how to gracefully conclude a conversation is as crucial as knowing how to start one. A seamless exit can be achieved through a simple 3-step formula: expressing appreciation, stating a reason, and building a bridge. First, acknowledge the value of the exchange. For example, "I really enjoyed learning about your work in urban planning. It's far more intricate than I realized." Next, provide a simple, impersonal reason for your departure, such as, "I should probably get a drink before the bar gets too crowded." Finally, create a path for future interaction, like, "I'd be interested to see how that project develops. Perhaps we could connect on a professional network." This structure ensures the other person feels valued, provides a clear and non-rejecting reason for leaving, and keeps the door open for future contact. The final impression you leave is what determines a person's willingness to engage with you again. Ultimately, mastering conversation is not about striving to be the most interesting individual present. It is about becoming the most genuinely interested one. The goal is to cultivate a space for real human connection in an increasingly isolated world.